everybody, Erica Serwin here from Pink Bucker Designs. I have a fun case from the catalog today. It's actually not a complete case. I took an idea from the catalog and turned it into a fancy fold card. And this card features a really fun stamp set called Arrange A Wreath. This stamp set has a ton of images and a ton of dies that can help you make wreath cards for any season. There's Valentine's Day, there's Easter eggs, pears, flowers, leaves, hearts, everything that you need. And we're gonna make some sunflowers today. All right, so before we get started, let me just show you in the catalog, page 127. This is the card that stood out to me. I love this card, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I decided to make a fancy fold card. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, where should we start? Let's make the card base first. I have a card base that is smoky slate. And I want to point out that there's a PDF on my blog right now. If you click on the link under the last photo, you'll find the link for this. Has all the products that I use as well as the measurements for these pieces. So go over there and grab it. It's yours. It's free. Okay, so we've got this card base. And what I've done is just taken a card base and cut off a section. And we're going to emboss this right here with the brick and mortar. I always get them wrong. Brick and mortar embossing folder. And I'm going to feed it so that I'm just going to get that little section. And I'm going to put I'm going to line up, make sure that this edge is even with that seam. And I think I'm going to go just a little bit further to make sure I get that whole section of the card. I'm going to carefully put my plate on there and run it through. Let's see how we did. Perfect. So now we've got that brick wall. Okay, so we're going to need this again in a minute, but for now I'm going to move it out of the way. And I'm going to bring over some of the other pieces. We're going to put Whisper White in the inside of the card. And I've got a piece of Designer Series paper. This paper is so beautiful. It's called In Good Taste, and it goes with a Tasteful Textures stamp set. Now I have cut the piece and I have scored one end, an inch from the end, okay? And I'm going to flag the other end. I'm going to use my triple banner punch. And I don't necessarily want to go all the way to the end. It will guide you so you know your paper is right in the right place. And I'm going to just pull it back a little bit to save myself some paper there. And let's see if we went far enough. Yep, see, I just wanted it to go right to the end of the card. Okay, so now I'm going to take my adhesive, and it's going to seem kind of weird. I'm going to put it on the front. But then I'm going to fold it over and lay it right there along that edge with my Stampin' Seal. Now I can use my Stampin' Seal to put down the white piece, and it's overlapping that little gate. Okay, so that folds in and that folds over. Easy peasy. Now let's do the die cutting. We're going to do lots of die cutting here. We're going to cut out let's see, we're going to do this wreath from Mossy Meadow, okay? We're going to do this wreath from Old Olive. We're going to do the little sunflowers from Bumblebee. And we're going to do the inside parts of the sunflower from Crumb Cake. And we need to stamp the insides with Early Espresso. There are these little dots here. And I'm just going to stamp them 3 times. And as we pass through each time, we will move those around. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get everything out of the way so that we can make room. And we're going to start, let's just start with this one. I'm going to put that in down here towards the end so that hopefully I can add a few more things in here as we go. So now I have my magnetic platforms. When you use your magnetic platform, those little tiny dies sometimes bounce around, but it looks like it's going to behave. And we'll do one sunflower. Carefully set that down. We're going to run it through. Now, the wreath and the sunflower are pretty intricate dies, so I'm going to just kind of pass through a couple of times to make sure that it gets enough pressure to cut all those cutting surfaces. And I can just move that one over. Move that one over. That kind of looks like a chocolate chip cookie, doesn't it? And we'll lift this up. Look at that. beautiful. Move that out of the way. Let's bring over the other one. Mossy Meadow. I love the way Mossy Meadow looks with Old Olive. Okay, another time, just for good measure. And ta-da! Love it. All right, now I'm going to move this over here because we need to get to the other ones. And these are tiny, so hopefully we don't lose them. There we go. We need one more sunflower. Bumblebee is the color of this yellow, and it makes a great sunflower. Let's see, how did we do? Perfect. Okay, now it's time to assemble. And there's lots of ways. In another video that I have, I showed how to use the adhesive sheets with these wreaths. But we're not going to do that here because the wreath isn't going to be touching the card in all places. So if we use the adhesive sheets, it would be sticky in places that we didn't want it to be sticky. So we're going to do some creative adhesive hiding here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to adhere it where I'm going to put down adhesive where my flowers would be really. So I'm going to cover up that adhesive, okay? So we're going to start with this back one, and I'm going to put down, I think I'm going to use glue dots. You could also use liquid glue. All right, so I think I'll put a glue dot there and a glue dot. Let's see, we want to set it down there, and actually it covers up that glue dot nicely, doesn't it? So strategically placing your glue dots will hide them. Okay, and I think I'll put one more up here. You could put as many as you want, but I'm not going to go crazy like that. Okay, now for the other one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some dimensionals. Let's put this block there. And I'm going to set this down, and I'm going to put the dimensionals to hold this down where I am going to put those sunflowers. Okay, so bring the sunflowers over, put one right there, and one right there. Now down here, we've got to be careful that we don't stick it where it would stick back here. You know, if we set it down and it would stick to the brick wall, but I think we've got wide enough surface there where those leaves are. All right, there we go. And now we can stick the centers on easily with glue dots. The little chocolate chip cookie centers. There we go. Okay, now let's make the little sign. I'm going to stamp the sign on Whisper White in Smoky Slate ink. And the sign, now this set has a ton of dies, but there's no die for the sign. And I think that's because it's just a rectangle. And you can use your paper trimmer or your scissors to easily cut that out. Now I'm going to stamp the Give Thanks in Early Espresso, just like that. And then I could use my trimmer, but I think I'll just use my scissors for the sake of the video. And I'm just going to cut along those lines like that. Pretty easy. Okay, now I'm going to use this adorable ribbon. I think this is my favorite ribbon in the whole catalog. And we're going to kind of feed it over that wreath and one of the branches. So kind of thread it through there, if I can get it to go through. Come on. There we go, and fold it over. Okay, and again, we're going to be creative with our glue dots. And we're going to put one there and one down there. And, you know, I kind of like that hanging down long like that. What do you think? I think I like that. If you don't like it, then just trim it, okay? And we're going to put that kind of at an angle like that. And there we have it. What do you think? Not terribly hard, right? But really a fancy card, if I do say so. And you what you could do, you could take the flower stamp and inside stamp a couple of those flowers there to match the design. All right, you guys, I hope you like this card. Hop over to my blog and check out that PDF. It has everything you need, as well as 2 other projects featuring the Arrange a Wreath bundle. Thanks so much, everybody. Let me know if you have questions. Bye-bye.